My understanding is that the Treasurer has asked you to do something with RG97.
That's correct.
Okay, what did he ask you to do?
Well, what we've publicly said we'll do, and we're in the midst of doing, is a review of, I think, the stamp duty aspects of RG97.
Right. Yep.
And that came out of an investor roundtable that we were at. But I'll ask Commissioner Constant, who's taking responsibility for that process within the Commission.
Yeah. Senator Bragg, in response to your question, we've got a review underway where we're focused on two discrete issues, and the one you're referring to is whether stamp duty should be excluded as a disclosable transaction cost in Reg Guide 97.
So when you say it would be excluded, i.e. the members of the fund wouldn't see that fee anymore?
No. What it means is that it would be potentially treated akin to these fees when it's a listed trust, for example. So it's about the way they're disclosed. It's really important that they be disclosed, and of course they can't be taken out of the equation. So the question is, for example, RG97 at the moment, the way it sets up is that if it's unlisted, it's disclosed differently to where it's a listed rate. So the question is, should the two be aligned?
So let's just assume that this is a dumb question. So if I invest in a listed property fund, I do not disclose the stamp duty costs in the same way that I would if I was a unlisted investor.
If you are a super fund.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the stamp duty must be paid. So it's about the context in which we're talking about. Exactly. So it's about the way that the cost is described. So in an unlisted property, it's disclosed as a transaction cost. In a listed property, like a real estate trust, if you are a super fund, it's rolled into the investment fees disclosure. Now, at the end of the day, both are disclosures. It's really critical, it's important that there be disclosure of the fee. The question is whether it's a distortion that one is disclosed differently to the other, and whether that leads to distortion in terms of investments.
So what's the point of this? Is it to promote institutional investment of housing?
From our purposes?
Yeah, why are you doing it? Because, you're an independent regulator, are you not?
Correct.
But you've been asked to do this by the government.
We have committed to do this by the government. It was part of the roundtable action.
Yeah, the Treasurer did a press conference here in Canberra. He said that he'd asked you to do it. So you're doing it because you've been asked to, right? Mm-hmm. Sure. So from your point of view, given you're an independent regulator, what is then how do you work that out? How does that conflict work? Yeah,
so we don't see it as a conflict. This year is part of our ongoing work to ensure that our regulation doesn't stand in the way of productivity in terms of regulation that's not effective or not necessary for achieving the aims. And as part of the productivity work of the government, it was called out by industry, a range of voices across industry, that this might be creating a distortion in terms of investment and therefore inefficient.
Sure.
So the process we've got is a working group that I'm actually chairing. And
who's on the group?
There's a range of folks on the group. There are industry bodies, for example, the Financial Services Council and some of the super fund representative groups, a range of super fund CEO or CIO level, because it's important. CBUS's CIO is on that committee.
Cool.
Funds from across the sector, Senator. So we have different representations. We have representations of platforms, of retail, of industry, because this needs to be model agnostic in terms of the outcome. And the questions we're posing are, is this effective disclosure? Is this creating distortion? Is there any question to be asked in terms of, for example, leading some folks to misunderstand the way these fees work into the performance of the funds? So
is the point to promote the idea that super funds will be investors in housing? Is that the idea, to promote institutional investment?
Not from our purposes, no. Our purposes is to understand whether this is effective disclosure.
That's all it is?
Is this effective disclosure? So if effective disclosure is about ensuring that superannuants, people looking at where they should be investing, understand what the fees are and how that affects the performance of the funds, and also that disclosure doesn't create distortions in the way funds are invested.
Okay, how many people are working on this?
Within ASIC?
Yeah.
The superannuation team that supports the work that I'm chairing in this regard. So some of the people in the superannuation team.
How many?
On any given day it will differ.
It's not a very good answer. Do you have any sense?
The superannuation team, I'd have to take that on notice as to how many people work on this.
Okay, but, I mean, there's a lot of corporate crime in Australia.
Yes.
We've just canvassed all the catastrophes that people are living through, and you've been asked to do this by the government for some reason that you say that it's not for you to determine. I respect that.
It's very clearly not. In our
I'm wondering how many
reference.
people are down there working on this while they could be fighting crime and putting people in jail.
We would say that this is important regulatory and supervisory work as well, part of our agenda to ensure that our disclosure rules, our regulatory and supervision work, our reg guides are promoting effective disclosure, effective conduct regulation, and that does not hamper productivity unnecessarily.
So when is your work going to be completed?
By the end of November is the terms of reference and the announcement.
And will it be a secret report, or will it be a report that everyone can see?
There'll be recommendations to government,
but that will be secret
it's a very
or
broad.
Public?
I would say I don't know that we have described what the outcomes would be. There is no secrecy though here. This is a very broad group. I think there are 15 or 16 representatives on the working group alone at CEO and CIO level.
That may be the case, but this is the most secretive government since the Keating government, according to the Centre for Public Integrity. So it sounds like you're going to have this one as a public document.
I'd have to take on notice. There is no intention for this to be secretive. I don't think you would chair a working group with 16 different representatives alone of very different organisations.
Just finally, are you managing any conflicts of interest in relation to members of the working group? I know you say CBUS is on the group. Also, the CBUS chair is the president of the Labor Party, as well as, I think, president of that fund. So does that present any conflicts of interest, and have any members of the group lodged any conflict of interest notifications with you?
There's been no registration of conflicts of interest.
Okay.
I think the breadth of the group and the representative level means that this is a very broad representative group to really understand the questions.
Okay, we look forward to your report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Bragg. Senator McKim, I'm assured you have